Hey everyone, and welcome. So, when you picture the Great Wall of China, what do you see? Probably this massive stone dragon snaking its way over lush green hills, right? But that iconic image, that's really only one chapter in a much older story. Today, we're going to uncover a history that's written not just in stone, but in earth, in grass, and even in 2,000 years of climate change.
First things first, let's just try to wrap our heads around the sheer scale of this thing. After a massive 5-year-long survey, they announced the official length of the Great Wall in all its different parts across all the dynasties. And the number is it's absolutely staggering. 21,196.18 kilometers. That's over 13,000 miles. To try and put that into perspective for you, if you could somehow stretch the entire Great Wall out in one long, straight line, it would wrap around about half of our planet. Half the entire circumference of the Earth. So yeah, this isn't just a wall, it's a world wonder on a planetary scale. It's almost hard to believe.
So yeah, the size is almost impossible to fully grasp. We're talking about the largest human-made structure in the world, a testament to centuries and centuries of just incredible effort.
But here's where it gets really interesting. That classic picture of the brick and stone wall that millions of tourists visit every year, that's not the whole picture. Not even close. In fact, it's a pretty recent chapter in a much older epic. To really get the wall's true story, we have to look past all those stones and into the earth itself. Okay, so on the left, that's the wall we all know, right? The famous brick one. That was mostly built during the Ming Dynasty, starting way back in the 15th century. But look at the picture on the right. See those ruins? That is also the Great Wall, but these are sections built over 2,000 years ago during the Han Dynasty, and they look completely different because, well, they were made from completely different stuff. Instead of trying to haul massive stones for miles and miles, the Han Dynasty engineers were brilliant. They just used what was right there in the dry landscapes of northwestern China. They made these bundles of reeds and wood, they're called fascines, and then layered them with gravel and dirt, pounding it all down until it was incredibly dense. I mean, they literally built the wall from the ground it was standing on.
And these early walls, they weren't just for keeping people out. No, they were this incredibly complex system. They were a military communication network with beacon towers for sending signals. They were symbolic borders, marking the edge of the empire. They even served as a safe passage for merchants who were traveling along the ancient Silk Road.
Okay, and this brings us to a really fascinating scientific discovery. Because the story of the wall, it isn't just about emperors and armies. It's also a story about our changing planet, and the clues are hidden in the very materials they used to build it.
It really does sound like a riddle, doesn't it? I mean, what can a bundle of reeds packed together 2,000 years ago possibly tell us about the world today? Well, as it turns out, a whole lot.
See, because the climate out in northwestern China is so incredibly dry, these common reeds, or phragmites, are just perfectly preserved. They're like little time capsules. So recently, scientists took some of these ancient reeds and analyzed their chemical makeup, and then they compared them to the same species of reed growing in the exact same places today. And the results were just stunning. The chemical signatures inside the ancient reeds, they proved that those plants grew in a world that was wetter, cooler, and could support way more types of life. The modern reeds, on the other hand, show all the signs of a plant that's just fighting to survive in a world that's much warmer, much drier, and seriously stressed for water.
So how'd they figure this out? Well, by measuring something called stable carbon isotopes, scientists can actually tell how efficiently a plant used water. The ancient reeds were kind of lazy with their water, which tells us there was plenty of it around. But the modern reeds, they're incredibly efficient, which is a dead giveaway that they are under constant stress from heat and drought. The wall, completely by accident, became a 2,000-year-long climate experiment.
So, this incredible little micro-level detail actually helps us understand the huge macro-level story of the wall. This thing wasn't one single project. It was this continuous effort, constantly adapting to changing landscapes and different threats over centuries.
Yeah, it really helps to stop thinking of the wall as one single thing. It's more like a living document of Chinese history. Every dynasty faced different challenges, they had different resources, and each one left its own unique mark on the landscape.
And this breakdown of who built what when is just fascinating. You can see these massive early projects under the Qin and Han dynasties, then there are these lulls in construction, and then, bam, the colossal effort by the Ming Dynasty. That's who built those famous stone sections we all know.
And yeah, the Ming section is the longest by far, but it stands on the shoulders of over 1,500 years of work that came before it.
So what does all this mean for the wall today? What happens to a story when its pages start to crumble away?
And this is the sobering reality of it all. Because of natural erosion and, of course, human activity, about a third of this unbelievable structure has already disappeared. It's just gone.
The challenge is just immense. Look at these numbers. Less than 10% of the entire 21,000-kilometer wall is considered to be in good condition. The vast majority, about 60%, is in some state of disrepair. And like we just saw, 30% is already gone forever. And here's where it all connects. Those ancient rammed earth and reed sections, the ones holding all those climate secrets we were just talking about, they are by far the most fragile and the most at risk. They're a priceless, irreplaceable archive of both human and environmental history, and they are slowly, quietly fading away.
In the end, the Great Wall is so much more than a monument. It's a silent witness. It has recorded the rise and fall of dynasties, the shifting of deserts, and even the changing chemistry of the air itself. So the question it leaves us with is this. As we continue to change our own world, what kind of story are we writing into the landscape for future generations to come back and read?